My name is Michael Tomlinson. I am an Americanteer. Today is July the 20th. It's a Monday morning, and I'm at a different location at a different park. It's a beautiful morning right now, and I'm enjoying the day. Really happy to be here. But there just seems to be a lot of disagreement, a lot of discontent, disappointment, out there in America at this very moment, that it's hard for me to not want to say something, even though I don't like to respond and react to current situations, because they always are currently changing. Let me remove my mask. It's just to remind people that safety and saving lives and being a part of the system makes sense. Okay, and I can prove it to you in so many ways, especially for the people who want to defy the mask order or the mandate. And first of all, the mask mandate thing is just a temporary. It's what it is. It's a mandate. It's not law, and so to take a mandate request or commitment to help save other people's lives and to be a cool American, pretty much, and to take it up to a place of you're being stripped of freedoms, of your freedom, it's not even a law. So it's not even like what you're protesting. It's not even like you're protesting. You're just protesting a temporary mandate that's supposed to help all Americans. And so what you're trying to say is, like, I don't want to help all Americans. I don't want to be a part of this. Or I find that these rallies that I'm finding, anti-mask rallies, are more of a political movement. It's just like the people like to just wave American flags, which I do too, and carry signs saying, give me liberty or give me death, or you can't tell me what to do. I'm an American. My constitutional rights are being infringed on, or and but really good messages. It's just that it is the wrong message, if that makes sense. Because if you truly want to stand up and for Americans and freedoms and stuff, and think about, like, everything else that's already a law that we've been stripped of, then you're missing the boat completely. All you're trying to do is look for an excuse or different kind of have your own intentions to flaunt your culture or ideology belief behind it, which is probably political motivated. And this is not a political thing, it's a health thing, and it's like saving lives. Okay, it's just like me saying to you, wear your seatbelt. Better wear your seatbelt. And you can defy me and defy the government and say, screw you, it's my constitutional right, to whether I want to wear a seatbelt or not. It's my vehicle, my life, my thing. You can't just infringe into me like that. But however, we don't do that, do you? You're not doing that. You're not going there, because buckling the seatbelts is about saving your life, right? About saving lives, about people not dying. It's about safety. Same thing can be looked at like the mask thing too. It's the same thing. So if you're going to protest and advocate anti-mask, then advocate toward a lot of other freedoms that we've already been stripped of, and push for real change, rather than this hoo-ha temporary change, or watch me raise hell over these trivial issues, when the major issues are right out in front of you and you're being stripped of, and you just refuse to acknowledge that because you're okay with doing that. I mean, it's like we're always being told what to do by law. We can't text. drive. We can't talk on our phone and drive. You know, we can't, you know, ride a motorcycle without a helmet in a lot of states. You know, and all this is like, when they say this, they're like, hey, it's because if you text and drive, you're gonna mess up and, you know, hurt someone, hurt yourself. And so basically, you know, what's going on here, and I'll break it down for you really fast because I want to get past this subject. This mask thing really is just not really the place where what we should be talking about. A lot more important issues that we should be talking about. However, the mask thing is, it's the same thing. It's about saving lives, man. You know, about being cool. You know, and if you want to somehow use that as being stripped of your freedoms, or, you know, something you can defy, you know, and that's your freedom, of course. You know, you're not going to get really arrested, or I don't know what they're going to do to enforce it, and that's what I guess what your argument is. It's like, what can you do? You can't do a thing about it, you know. You know, I'll tell you what I can do. I can tell you to wear your mask. As Americanteers, you know, we can advocate for that. You know, as just Americans talking to Americans. You know, I'm not part of the political system. In conclusion, stop being so defiant against it, you know. Join us. Join Americans. Be an American, you know. It's if you want to stand up for issues, there are some real issues to stand up against right now. I figured that I really think that we're being stripped of our real freedoms. Okay? Why do I always feel like I'm out here alone, fighting this battle? You know? Why is it me speaking up? Why aren't you standing by me? Why aren't you behind me? You know, that's a question I need to ask you. Why are you so unhappy with your life? You have it made, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I'm the one who's struggling here. So, don't judge me. When you should just do a quick inventory on your own life first. And maybe after that you can kind of judge me. But be honest with yourself when you're gonna take your own inventory. Take a real honest look at yourself. Look in the mirror, reflect on it. Understand that you know what your intentions and motives are behind your actions. And if they're ill intent, or if they're just trying to, you know, do things to cause chaos, then it's not really a healthy thing. It's not a healthy movement. Back to what we should fear right now, this very day, and this past weekend, this past week, is the first baby step, the way I see it, is the real stripping of our rights. The future of America is in jeopardy. You know, and let's talk about this protest. First of all, the protesters. You know, let's talk about them for a second. And the current administration, referring to them as agitators and anarchists, and, you know, every horrible hate thing they could possibly say that's to degrade and downplay the character of peaceful people making a statement, you know. And so that overall broad stroke of things of everyone, you know, the protesters were all like, you know, they're not part of it, but, you know, I'm an American, so you're an American too. So it's just like calling your neighbor like anarchist, you know, when it is just a pointless judgment, and it's not really solving anything. You know, this is a crazy park, more than I realize. It's loud. Just speak up. Speak up, man. Stand up. Speak up. Anyways, the referring to protesters that way is just, you're out of touch. It is just a way to justify and your own methods of messing with other people, spreading more hate and making things worse instead of trying to make things better. A little understanding, a little compassion goes a long ways. And now this is where it gets tweaky and weird, is if you're going to send in the federal government or federal officers, who knows who they are? I mean, as far as I know, they're not wearing any kind of insignia or saying anything. I mean, they're referring to them as maybe the Marines, maybe it's just National Guard or members of the Army, or and they mentioned the Border Patrol, but there's still, no one's really wearing anything. They're just in full military combat, like we might as well be in Afghanistan at a war, and doing things to Americans in a reaction and in a way that other foreign regimes and dictators do to other folks in America, in their country, driving around in vans, unmarked vans, grouping people up and taking them away is not American at all. It is just so wrong. And if you can't see that, and if you can't expand your mind from that issue to other issues, then I'm going to break it down for you, man. It's like these are baby steps of stripping you of your freedom. So I'm really talking to the people who like to protest against the government, who like to carry their M16s and their own military gear and waving flags and turn it into like a pro-Donald Trump rally / liberty, give me freedom rally with all your, gear. And that is the wrong issue, because this is just a matter of time. You think, you're like, oh, that's okay. You can go after the protesters in a Gestapo kind of way, but you can't come after us because we are, white, or we're privileged, or we're entitled, and this is not going to happen to us. And believe me, it's going to happen to you too. And pretty soon, gun-hoarding individuals in America are going to be considered anarchists too, agitators. Why would you want to hoard a bunch of guns? The government should step in and arrest you, without any kind of going to invade your house in the middle of the night and just take you away, like they do in other countries. And that's what you're saying it's okay to do, but it's not okay to do to you, because how dare they? You feel like you're separate from the rest of Americans when you are an American just like everybody else. You're in the same swimming pool as everyone else. So don't try to play dumb, naive, and put on blinders and say, oh no, that's only for those folks. It's not going to be for me and my kind of people. But believe me, that baby step can turn into be a big leap, and before you know it, you're being really stripped of your freedoms. And that whole thing of you can't take my gun, or you're gonna take over my dead body kind of statement, may become real. So if you really want to be freedom fighters for America, and make sure things don't go crazy in that direction, then you should be protecting the protesters, okay? You should be waving your American flags, carrying all your and building a boundary to protect the protesters, or even though they refer to them as they're not protesters, or they're anarchists, or protect the anarchists, whatever. They're doing the same thing that you're doing, except it's not the same words, but the definition is still the same. The bottom line is still the same. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? Don't plug your ears and say like, oh no, I can't hear this, because that kind of truth is can't just be happening, and because you only want to embrace your own party, your own ideology, your own friends, and that is the truth. And you're fooling yourself and you're fooling others by not standing up for the real issues. Okay? So please make an effort to understand what's going on here. Take it all in. Look at the big picture. If you see small acts of the government really stepping in and stripping people of their rights and freedoms, it's just a matter of time before that happens to you. Believe me. You may think like, oh, this is not, they're not gonna come after me, but they will. It will. Eventually, you'll be the protester. You'll be the agitator. You'll be the anarchist for hoarding guns. Being mean. Just flat out. And at the same time, you're just like, but I'm an American. And we're all Americans. So to separate yourself and say I'm an American in America is how do you respond to that? There is no response to that. It's like a dead end statement. So, and a lot of the messages and statements I'm hearing from a lot of folks out there is it's mixed up. And the same with the protesters. I'm just as confused with them. And I do not think, let me make this clear, I do not think you're agitators. I do not think you're anarchists. And I believe you're making a real statement with what you're doing for change. Because sometimes that's what it takes to get the system to start to look for change. And instead of waiting for things to get much worse, and they've already gotten worse. I mean, this is something that's been going on for years and years and years. So you can't blame people for being upset. You can't blame Americans for fighting against oppression. So, and there's a lot of solutions that we should be talking about. And this whole thing of calling each other names and feeling like we're making progress. We're not. No one's making any progress whatsoever. We're just spinning our own wheels, talking to ourselves and to others, echoing the same thing over and over again. And it still doesn't make sense. At least it doesn't make sense to me. And I really am a sensible person. And so if you're gonna protesters, if you're gonna throw words around like defund the police and stuff, I want to see a serious plan. I mean, it's just the overall message is just baffling to me. It's like, what do you even mean by that? What we need is a social change that would help, that will make the police change, because it's all an inset in the mind. It's not a physical, tangible thing we can put our hands on and move it somewhere else. It's not like that at all. It's kind of a disease of sorts in everyone. It's a virus, and it's a silent one. And people do act out and do things without even having to say that they're acting out in social discriminating ways. It's a way. Everyone looks for that subtle kind of approach to, well, it's just not my thing, and come up with other justifications and excuses to use to go against people and be socially discriminating. And it's such a easy bandwagon. It's so easy that I can see why you're doing it, because everything else takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more thinking, knowledge, and no one really wants to go with that direction. And it'd rather just stay on the same boat and the same wagon and judge, spread the hate, and keep it propelled and moving in that direction, when that is not the conversation we should be having. As Americanteers, as me Michael Tomlinson standing here, we are missing the boat completely. We are missing the wagon of change, you know, by creating these things or these events that are pretty much pointless. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. My name is Michael Tomlinson. I am an Americanteer. And no matter what I just talked about, let's just set all that aside and look at the beautiful adventure that's ahead of us and the beautiful change that we can create right now in a system where we can start making real change happen for the future of all Americans, all the kids, and our children is what I mean, and for the future. Instead of fighting each other, gotta be peaceful. Love. Thank you again for you. Have a great day.